about time I pop a Greatsword build on here. So if you're the kind of hunter that's looking for those high damage numbers, consider this build for your arsenal. I'm calling it the Critically Drawful Meaty Chopper. Now, that's a bit of a mouthful of a name, but it really does tell the story of what this build is capable of. We're taking advantage of a few affinity-heavy skills to maximize your DPS when you decide to take your big old sword to the sky. So without further ado, let's get to building. Your weapon is going to be the immovable Dharma. Your head is the golden headdress beta from Rajang, the Kirin jacket alpha on your chest with the Kirin hoop beta on your waist. On your arms, we're slotting in the Rex Roar braces beta from the Brute T-Rex. And the ever meta Garuga Grease beta are going to go into the legs. The charm we're going to be running is the Handicraft Charm 4. But wait, there's still a little bit more on this build. For the first time in one of my builds, I'm going to require a mantle for this one. You have to make sure that you're going to slot in the Glider Mantle Plus, and there's going to be more on this later as far as explaining why. As for our decos, we've got 2 expert decos going into the weapon. A Draw Medicine Jewel is going to go into the head along with a Resistor Jewel. The chest gets a Handicraft Jewel and a Charger Jewel. The arms are going to get a Charger Protection Jewel. The waist slots in a Draw Vitality Jewel with 2 additional attack jewels, a Charger Medicine Jewel, an Elementless Jewel, and a Tenderizer Jewel go into the legs. And finally for the mantle, we're going to be popping in a Flight Attack Jewel with a Hard Defense Level 4 Jewel. With everything in place, we get Max and Critical Eye at 7, Handicraft maxed out at 5, Attack Boost at 4, boosted up to 5 when wearing the Glider Mantle, Health Boost at 3, Blight Resistance at 3, Weakness Exploit at 3, Recovery up 2, Critical Draw 2, Divine Blessing 2, and Non-Elemental Boost. And of course, when we're wearing the Glider Mantle, we're also going to get 3 points in defense, and we're going to activate the Airborne skill. Okay, so how do these skills all work together? First off, we're going to focus on the gimmick here. It's in the name, and we incorporate it with Critical Draw. Critical Draw is an ability that will boost your affinity when you do draw attacks. In this case, with a base affinity of 45% and Critical Draw 2, we are guaranteed to crit no matter where we hit a monster on these draw attacks. This works whether you charge your first charged attack standing on the ground, whether you jump off a ledge to do a charged aerial strike, or, and this is where the Glider Mantle is going to come in, or you equip the Glider Mantle, clutch claw to a monster's face, jump off, and then as you're gliding, do an aerial charged attack. This makes mounting so much easier because on top of getting that 100% affinity, your jumping attacks are going to have a 30% boost thanks to that airborne skill that we slotted into the mantle. You're going to be a mounting commander. It's going to be on par with the bug sticks and the sword and boards when you run this build. To further beef up those meaty chops, those 4 points in attack aren't just there to get the additional 5% affinity. We're going to be handing out some meaty hits left and right running this build. And in true meta fashion, we're going to get 95% affinity here as long as we hit those softened weak spots. Let's not forget, the non-elemental boost will give this already beefy weapon some serious teeth. As for utility, Health Boost 3 and Recovery up 2 is going to keep your hunter up longer. Of course, I added a regen augment on my weapon. This is further improved with those 2 points in recovery up. With ICEBORNE pretty much having every monster offering some kind of elemental blight, Max in Blight Resistance is a comfortable godsend here, and the 2 points in Divine Blessing is always nice to have. Now off to our adjustments. If you want to sacrifice a non-elemental boost for some additional critical damage, slot in that critical deco. If you want to sharpen less, feel free to use a sharp deco instead. And if you're going to be facing off against a monster with some annoying unblockables, feel free to use a shield deco. As for Blight Resistance, if you want to drop that 1 point in Blight Resistance, you can slot out the Resistor Jewel and I suggest maxing out either Divine Blessing, or you can further up Recovery up with an additional Medicine Jewel in place of it. And finally, if you're in multiplayer and you don't want to keep getting flinched out of a True Charge Slash, feel free to swap out that Handicraft Deco for a Brace Deco. You're going to lose a little bit of purple sharpness, but trust me, it's worth it to not deal with the headache. And with that, that's another build for you. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please consider sending a like my way. Subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you can stay up to date with everything that I do here. A few announcements. I did start streaming regularly now, so I'll be on Twitch 3 days a week. I work full time, and I'm also doing a program for school, so this is pretty much all I have time for, but you can see me test out some of my builds, BS in chat, and just chop it up with yours truly. So, please consider following me there. The link is down below, and as usual, I do want to stress, these builds are in no way meant to replace the meta. They're fun and interesting takes on building an arsenal in the Monster Hunter world. And who wants to see a channel where every build is pretty much the same pieces of armor? That kind of gets boring, so I'm not going to do that here. But that's my time, folks. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, you stay frosty hunters and get lifted. Peace out.